Hello everyone and welcome to Formula Trout Racing League once more. This time we'll be racing the second series F317 around Road America. So glad for you guys to join us. Tonight we will be joined by Carlisk and Maxi Younger. Carlisk, who is alongside me at the moment.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here again.
Maxi with us realizes that to fulfill. We will be practicing very shortly. Go behind her. Bye bye. And yeah, 2 more minutes now until practice starts. Have you got anything you want to say, Carlisk?
I can tell a bit about the track if you want. So it's a track in America, in the Wisconsin state. It's a 14 turn, 4 mile or 6.5 kilometer track. Of course, on asphalt. First raced in 1950. That is in a very different layout on the streets around the nearby town of Elkhart Lake. The track itself is difficult to drive with these cars. A lot of drivers reported in practice getting beached in turn 2 and also having difficulty managing turn 2 and 3. Having a lot of mistakes as turn 3 has quite difficult camber. Track limits, I think, is going to be a crucial one in races. There's a lot of asphalt runoff that can be used, and there are quite a lot of sharp turns. So track limits can be exploited quite a lot in this track, and I think that's going to be something to watch during this race.
Most definitely. Now we'll quickly go through the standings in the second series. So surprisingly, moment we've got Oscar Williams currently leading by 151 points. Why do I get the feeling that something's not been updated? The penalties handed out? Could be wrong. I thought there was into that. But yeah, 145 points in second, MVTL 140. A very close battle for the championship at the moment. Sammy Salem also not that far off. I'm actually just going to quickly look at the standings just to make sure everything's updated. But yeah, as Carlisk mentioned, there are quite a lot of points on the track that can be exploited, so we will be keeping a close eye on the challenge ahead. Quickly run over thing. Really, the standings. I thought it was a lot closer between the top 4.
Things can change quickly in these races. Some people just don't come to a race, and it changes a lot.
Yeah, might have a quick look for this. Something about it. Yeah, we haven't updated the spreadsheet. I apply for a quali ban. 2 points Hockenheim and 3 points Macau. Bugger. Yeah. So a few things need to be updated, unfortunately. Okay. We'll go over the lap times real quick. So Yap is currently leading with the best time of 153.5. MVTL literally 0.003 of a second behind in 153.58. Opposed to Yap's I can't even talk. 153.57. Then you've got R2, who is also in 153s. It is pretty close between the top 3, in fact.
Top 4, I'd say.
Top 4 even, yeah. And then, yeah, it's up until 6th. Finally, people doing 154s. Could be a close qualifying tonight. It all depends on who can get the lap in first, really. Who can have that psychological advantage. So, quickly boot up the game. Simulation, whatever you want to call it. I wonder where Maxi is. At this rate, I'll be commentating. Oh, bugger.
One thing good about this track is that there are a lot of braking zones which with wide entries, which will make for an interesting race if the drivers can keep it close. And there is a lot of overtaking opportunities.
The first 2 straights will definitely help overtaking. This year we won't be using DRS unlike last season. So the guys will have to rely on slipstream and just getting as close, staying as clean as possible. I realise I need to update the livery pack.
As this is also one of the tracks where every smallest turn in the road counts as a corner, and yeah, that makes work more difficult for casters and commentators for this race.
Hopefully sound is okay. Last stream we did sound for the first 5 laps and qualifying. So quickly just check that car list that you can hear yourself and an excited conversation.
Yeah, maybe when you connect to the server you could go through a lap of the track. As we will be able to see a lot of the crucial points on the track. As I think you need to turn yourself up or either turn me down, because I'm quite a lot louder than you.
Okay. Okay, running on board with Oscar Williams at the moment. Have 8 minutes and 50 seconds left of practice. For these guys to just get any last minute views out of the way so they can have a clean qualifying.
Going through turn 4 right now, of course, flat. A tricky braking zone downhill to turn 5. Can go quite wide on the exit here. Cresting over to turn 6 and going into a section, very difficult section now, turn 7, flat out with these cars. Turn 19, then the very difficult turn 9.
Catch you out that one, find yourself going wide unintentionally.
Yes, and it's really easy to beat these cars, and there's quite a dip. The grass dips down to the gravel trap, and cars can get stuck there, especially these cars.
Flat out now. 250 kilometers. I can even push that fast. Braking at 200
for
meters.
Canada, which is one of the most... you can go really wide there.
Making sure that no one gets any advantage from extending track limit there. Oscar just misses the apex.
It's really interesting, this track, because when we go through the track I can explain why. This is the start-finish straight. The drivers will have to drive up the hill, which always makes very interesting starts, just like we saw today in the real-life Grand Prix in F1, which basically uphill makes judging the braking so much more difficult in pack situations, and mistakes can happen.
Following Martin right now, he's apparently on his outlap. Apologies.
Once again, this counts as a corner right here, the one he crosses right now, but I'll show you later in the lap. There are corners that should be corners but aren't. You can see Martin extending there with all four wheels outside the white line. I think that's gonna be a recurring trend during this race. On that curb it's not that bad, as you're risking spinning, but some other corners are to gain a lot of advantage during them if you extend. Like for example, this is not counted as a corner. These two epics are not, while the one at turn 4 was. It's
kind of
quite
like
weird.
was it the Red Bull Ring and turn 2, which is it's not really a turn, is it? It's still on the straight.
Yeah, but then like especially turn 2 is just a straight. That's not a turn, as you're gonna see in the moment if Martin carries on. This track is also quite bumpy in a lot of the braking zones. So yeah, this that he goes through right now is counted as a turn, and that's quite odd. As Alex is reporting that he's fallen through the floor.
Not good.
And indeed he's flying through the air. That's interesting. I think that's something we're gonna have to look at for the next series races, but I don't think it's that important to cancel the race right now.
Great camera angles though. Next disconnects from the server, can probably be connecting shortly. Contact's going wide out of one. Showing us why you need to have full control as you hit the apex of that corner. Waiting for Maxi. Minutes left of practice, and I mean in comparison to best lap times, Still plenty of time to be gained. Best so far being a 1.5.4.
I think once again they're either doing just warm-up laps or race stints, just like in Macau. As the grip is quite low currently, people are not doing qualifying laps. The grip is at 96%, so it's not the optimal grip, and yeah, people are not hurrying to do the fastest laps they can right now. Just easing it in the track.
We run with Sammy Salem at the moment. 5th best of the session. So as we wait for Maxi to go up and for qualifying to commence, I'm going to quickly take this opportunity to just change spreadsheet. I do apologise if I go quiet, I'm just concentrating.
We reconnect in a moment as I'm configuring my apps.
Oh god. Alex proving why you shouldn't. Right. End of practice. Williams currently leading on lap times. Yeah, looking at this, Oscar Williams had 1 point from Cow. Let's update this. Oscar Williams. 5 seconds. 8. That will affect his. As qualifying commences, all the drivers peel away from the pits. The 2 in-forward guys who back Yap ahead of MBTL. These guys only get 7 minutes of qualifying, so every minute is crucial here. Chances are guys will be carrying all the fuel needed until the end of qualifying, unlike the hybrid series where people tend to just carry the one flying laps. Running with Yap now as he crosses the line to embark on his flying lap. Braking just before the 100-meter board. Not really getting the apex, but I don't think it's necessary really. Hugging turn 2, nice and clean. As he puts his foot down along the first of the straights. Down to 3rd gear, 120 kilometers. Looks nicely at that corner. Left, then right. You really have to be careful with those corners because the curbs can really catch you out. Yeah, not really pushing it this lap, just looks like he's trying to get a banker lap in. He'll be working on this rest of qualifying. Comes along the final straight. Hill. Over the finish line. A 1:54.8. He has provisional pole. As the rest of the cars cross the line.
Arthur Nemanen going purple in the first 2 sectors. As he drifts out of the last corner and almost loses it, but keeps it on track, and I think he's gonna be on top for now.
MVTL 3/10 up on his best at the moment.
Oh, up to the second 900s behind Yap currently.
Yeah, MVTL's on a strong one at the moment. Not for any lost time on the last lap.
Yes, Yap sets a purple second sector.
Yeah, MVTL 700ths of a second off in the second sector.
Nemanen sets a purple sector 1, so it's really close between those three guys. As well as Sami Salam, he's up there as well. Yap goes quite wide in turn 12. Let's see what Yap's time is. He made a mistake at turn 12, so that's gonna cost him time.
MVTL also goes wide at turn 12. Cost him a few hundredths as he takes pole with that time.
Yeah, that mistake cost Yap, as it's 7 thousandths between the in-forward teammates. That's great pace from both of those guys.
Both guys will be using the same setup. It will be down to each individual's skill behind the wheel. We roll with Oscar Williams now, who is...
Yep, sets purple first sector as Oscar beats him to it. This is really close for the first sector times. Everyone's squeezing in their times. Nimeren goes fastest when 154 to 1, sorry. With a blisteringly fast last sector.
As I just remembered to switch the thing over to qualifying because we're not practice. Apologies. And that is qualifying over. Now the guys will be finishing their current laps and we will find out who has the fastest pace overall. Salem is already in the pits, so is Sato, Drifter and Lamers, so just the 6 cars out now will fighting for pole position.
Yeah, currently has a purple second sector and Oscar has a purple first sector. They're all up on their best times. So this is going to be an interesting finish to the qualifying session. Yeah, goes second fastest, 400s behind Neiman, and Oscar beats him to it, 100 behind Neiman.
Pretty close. It will be Syntax crossing the line, finishing 6th, qualifying. So, gonna read it out for us.
So yeah, it's Arthur Neiman on pole with the 154.1. Oscar Williams just 100 behind him in second alongside, and third row are the in-forward guys with Jaap ahead of Martin. For third row, Sami Salem gets ahead of Syntax, and then 1 second behind Syntax is Alex, who had not such a good qualifying after his quite a good performance in Macau. Then 6 tenths after him is Assetto Drifter. I believe it's his first race in this league. And rounding out the top 10 in row 5 are Jello Lammers and Clive, who is going to be starting from the pit line.
battery. Oh, need to change about that. Sorry if you hear it in the stream. Don't you deal with it. Shame. So God, that is really annoying. So I don't know. I'm guessing Clive will be starting from the pit, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll set her up properly. It's lights out. That's a good start from I forgot his name. Oscar closes off any attack from Yap. R2 staying ahead.
As the Lammers makes a mistake and is in a gravel trap at turn 1. He's trying to get out, but he's very slow at it. I think he's quite beached. He gets out well and continues on. Fight for 5th place. They are going 3 wide into turn 5. Martin gets ahead of the others. R2 already building a steady gap over the cars behind. But he lost out a bit in the turn 10 section. And now Oscar is closing up a little bit. The field is already starting to spread out quite a lot.
Pretty close at the moment between 7th and 6th that you mentioned previously. R2 goes slightly wide in the last corner. Still keeping a second gap. First and second. Drivers really have to watch out for the exit of turn 1 because that raised curb can really catch you out. So much speed and game over quite easily.
There's a fight for P6 between Alex and Syntax. Syntax looks like he's gonna be sizing a move over at turn 4. He's too far back to do anything. It looks like Joel Lammers has hit some issues and he's not gonna continue on in this race.
Syntax getting a good exit out of that corner. Has to lift. That will stunt his performance along the straight. We roll with Oscar Williams. We'll be looking for any opportunity to get past R2 on the next lap. You really just gotta look at how your opponent's taking the corner and almost do exact opposite of what he's doing. Try something new out.
As unfortunately, Assetto Drifter has beached and is out of the race. Those things happen in these cars, and that was inevitable that someone is gonna get beached. That's just sadly how it is with these cars.
They're not very good off track, to be honest. You want to keep it on the grey stuff. As Williams gets a brilliant exit out of turn 2 using the slipstream from R2, and will be very close coming into the next corner.
Looking at how he gets the exit out of turn 5, it was a good exit. He's even closer for turn 6. As R2 gets a bit of a slide down at the exit.
We're now into the last 15 minutes of this first race.
As they go into the carousel, the corner of 9 and 10. And seems that R2 got a better off in that corner. Flat out turn 11. Then the kettle bottoms straight. As it appears that R2 is still building a little bit of a gap. Both run really wide through turn 12. I think that's gonna be a normal occurrence this race.
Right there.
They both get about the same exit out of the last corner, but since Oscar has slipstream, he's slowly closing up to R2.
Williams faster on that last lap than the race leader.
R2 makes a mistake, runs wide turn 1, and that's gonna lose him a lot of time. He's lost about 4 tenths because of that mistake, and Oscar is right on the back of him now. Possibly dirty tires, losing him even more time in turn 3. Oscar is really close now. He's gonna go around the outside of turn 5. Leaves plenty of space, runs wide. And yeah, I think it was just peer pressure and he didn't want to touch R2. And decided to back off out of that move. R2 defended well in that corner. And this fighting has allowed the gap to close up to those guys. Before the gap was 1.9 seconds and now it's only a second, so he's getting a lot closer as well.
Only 3/10 separate first and second at the moment. Quite surprisingly, quite a gap forming between third, fourth, and fifth, though. I wonder if
it appears Siap has made a mistake because he's lost 3 to 4 tenths now. Let's see. Is there going to be a move on turn 1? Because Oscar is really close. He looks like he's going to go around the outside of turn 1. He's ahead, but not fully. There's about half a car behind. And the overtake move is successful as R2 again doesn't have much grip to turn 1 and concedes the position to Oscar.
As he goes wide, and that will cost him a lot. And give Yap a good opportunity here, as he's now alongside R2. That's 2 positions lost in one corner as R2 tries something, bit of oversteer, and has to say goodbye to second position for the time being.
I think this is a setup issue for R2. This might be more of a hot lapping setup than a race setup, and it's not working well with heavy fuel. I really want to talk to Artu after the second race to see what was up with the sliding.
Yeah, because he seems to just be going deep into every corner and extending the track more than anything, having to rely on the exit curbs to kind of stabilize his car, and that will be costing him quite a lot, whereas these guys ahead of him are able to get on the throttle a lot faster than he is, as R2 gets a better exit out of the corner and will be looking to make a move on Yap, if not on this corner, the next one. Like again, R2, sorry, is extending the corner. You were about to say?
Yeah, I was about to say that Martin is slowly closing up on Sammy Salim's.
And that's a big
spin.
Big spin from R2, who is unable to kind of control that oversteer that he's getting. Kind of understeer going into oversteer right there. And is now in 5th position, gifted 2 positions to Salem and Martin.
Yeah, it's all falling apart. For a moment, for me, it looked like he had positive camber, which is never a good thing, but that was just probably a replay glitch. I think that's just a setup issue.
Yep.
And he runs wide again in turn 2, I mean 3, sorry.
Really needs to get that under control, because I mean, you can't rely on that every corner. Could be braking a lot sooner, to be honest. Compensate for it, as he's just unable to control the oversteer in every corner.
Martin has been following Sammy for a while and he's getting closer by the minute.
Running with our current race leader as we head into the last 9 minutes of race 1. Currently 1.5 seconds ahead of Yap.
A bit more than half of the race gone now, and yeah, there's one car within a second of other and another car, and that's about it. I don't think there's gonna be more fights unless there are more mistakes made. Martin has a good exit out of the last corner, but I think his setup, because of his setup, he's losing time to Sammy. Sammy is probably running much lower aero than Martin is, because Martin closes up in the corners, but then Sammy just shoots down and shoots away in the straights. So
it might be worth noting after the penalty that Williams received in the last race at Macau, there's just 3 points separating Yap and Oscar Williams, as Alex Cochran overtakes R2 and be receiving 5th position from him.
So I'm guessing Arto made another mistake because the gap was quite large before.
Yeah, this race is all falling apart for R2, and he'll be hoping to maybe change the setup before the next race.
As that is allowed in this league, there are no setup restrictions.
No park firmly here.
I see a trend going on here, and that Martin gets really close to Sammy in the second and third sector, but then Sammy bolts off at the start-finish straight and is faster than Martin in the first sector. Martin is really close as Sammy makes a mistake out of turn 12.
I think Martin's car might be set up for the corners, whereas Salem's car is for the straights. Could be wrong. As Martin gains on.
Martin is slipstream, as Sammy was taking evasive action, making a move to break slipstream. It's a drag race right now. As you can see, Sammy has better straight line speed, but Semi decides better of it and backs out of the fight, possibly to overtake to try to go for a move later this race. Martin gets a big oversteer moment, and Sami is coming back at him, going down through turn 4 and into turn 5.
Martin goes for the inside. Salem is able to keep it together around the outside.
There's another fight on track, which I'm gonna follow right now. It's R2 on the back of Alex. It's less than 3/10 now between them.
R2 will be looking to get any position back as he gets a better exit out, but has to go into the back of Cochran. Fortunately enough, they both avoid any kind of incident, and R2 takes 5th position.
Alex is coming back at him for turn 11, and surprisingly they go through there cleanly. Now the cattle straight, and they're gonna be going for a move. Alex is going for a move in turn 12, which he succeeds as R2 spins once again. This time it's a half spin, so he doesn't lose that much time, but it still cost him about 2 seconds by the last turn of the track.
Yeah, got a really kind of feel for him at the moment. No one wants to get pole position and then finish 6th. And you got really kind of wonder what condition his tyres are in at the moment.
So I think Oscar made a mistake because Jaap is much closer than before. The gap was around 5 seconds, and now it's only 1.2 seconds between Oscar and Jaap.
R2 again having another incident coming out of turn 1. A lot of oversteer as we now run with Martin, who is 5/10 off Salem, hoping to make another move by the end of this lap.
Jaap is swiftly closing up to Oscar now. I think Jaap just had a difficult qualifying session and he couldn't be up there. I think he qualified P3 or P4 but made a mistake at turn 1 and ran wide.
Martin gets a bit of oversteer in the carousel section and has to lift off, which compromises his exit speed, and Salem just manages to get away. Time being, as we enter the last 3 minutes of this race, first race.
Oscar is doing well to manage a gap now. It's going 7 or 8 tenths behind, yeah. But it's a lot closer than it was before, and I think this is going to be a fight for the win in the last 2 laps of the race.
I'm getting a slightly better exit out of turn 1, turn 2. But the gap is too big to really make any difference on this lap. And it will be going down to the wire in race 1. For those who were aware, oh god, there's a big oversteer incident for Salem, and that gifts 3rd position to Martin. Very thankful for that. Proves that it is a race of attrition.
These cars are sometimes not easy to drive, especially if you haven't tweaked the setup for the track. Sometimes they can oversteer onto you, and I think both Sammy and Arto proved that it's important to balance the setup between hot lapping and the race where you run with heavy fuel.
As Salem eyes up a move around the outside, Martin closes him off and Salem thinks twice about. As we enter the last 50 seconds, this will be the final lap. All cars are about to cross the finish line for the last lap of race 1.
I think Oscar is gonna keep the first position unless he makes a mistake, which he's quite a stable driver, so I doubt that he's gonna make a big mistake. He's just gonna take it a bit easy, just maintaining the gap, which is around 8 tenths now.
I mean, it's not easy keeping the gap off your back. I mean, I wouldn't like to see him forwards car in my rear view mirrors. Yap closes the gap, now down to 6 tenths. Pulling everything under his sleeve, trying to get past Williams, but looks like Williams has the upper hand at the moment. Get into the carousel section. Down to whoever gets the best exit out of this corner, really. Oscar foot fully down on the accelerator, keeping a nice gap. The Yap. Sammy now is 4 tenths behind Martin. We roll with them. Let's see if we can get a mover done the last lap. Sammy going around the outside. A bit too far back this time. That'll be Martin, who is likely to take 3rd position unless Salem is able to keep close to him and out of the final corner.
As Arto spins again and loses another position to Syntax, that's really unfortunate for him.
And it will be a photo opportunity finish here as Salem takes it! He takes it literally within the last couple of seconds of the race, and Martin will not be happy about that.
As congratulations to Oscar for winning the first race. It was quite a dominant show, except for probably one mistake that he made at some point in the lap, but he maintained the gap well and drove well, and was really stable to take the victory in race 1.
Syntax finishes 6th.
As I see that Oscar is reporting problems with tires.
Yeah. 5 Melbourne overtakes R2 as well. Not a great race for R2, who, to be honest, will be starting on pole. Even though there's 10 races, well, basically the top 10 is reversed for the race 2. However, all the drivers need to be on the correct lap when finishing, otherwise will start at the back of the grid. It will be R2 on pole for race 2, 5 second. For the second row we got Syntax, 3rd, Alex Cochran 4th, Martin in 5th, Salem in 6th, Yap in 7th, Oscar Williams 8th. Implying that the other 2 guys who DNF'd are still with us. We'll have Jelly Lamb is racing with us tonight.
He was, but I think he disconnected. I don't know why, because he could have continued on for the second race, but I think that's the case. currently.
Alright, well, we'll have Assetto Drifters finishing grid in place then. Bit of a small attendance tonight, but have some races go down. Saying that, normally it is shortest attendance, tends to be the most exciting race. Start the countdown now for the second race. All cars lined up on the grid. So what are your predictions for the second race?
I think Arthur is gonna take away, as he reported it. He loaded the wrong setup for race 1. That is really unfortunate, but yeah, he's gonna get the correct setup for race 2, and I see him doing well in the second race.
Yeah, you've got a feel for him. You know, no one wants to finish practically dead last, qualify first. So he'll be doing everything to make up for that this second race.
Clive is also one of the fast drivers, and I think that he could put on a fight with R2, but yeah, I'm betting on R2 winning this race. He had a good pace in the qualifying, and I think that if he can hold his line and just do his job, then he's gonna win.
All the cars start revving their engines, the red lights shine. It's lights out, away we go. Good start from R2. Clive, not so good. Syntax looks to try and make a maneuver. R2 hugging the apex, closing off any attempt from Clive. The Oscar trying to weave way into an opening.
There is contact in turn 3. It was Syntax, I think, with Yap and someone else made contact. Syntax.
Yeah, you're right. Oscar's down to last position now. Yap up to 4th. Settle Drifter up to 6th. As Clive overtakes the race leader and Martin, it looks like he's having a bit of an issue. And R2 drops down to 5th position. Wonder what the case is there.
Unfortunate again for R2.
So now running with the race leader Clive. A lot of pressure on his shoulders to perform for West Cork. Should be a great result if we can keep it together. Fortunately for him, he has Martin right behind him. He'll be looking to take that position from him.
The two Toro cars are scrapping away. It's a fight between Sammy and R2.
Syntax is
R2
forced
comes up
wide.
the inside of Sammy. Sorry, what did you say?
I said Syntax is forced wide, and there's a bit of contact between him and Alex Cochrane coming to the last corner. As we have a new follower, Rom13 Jr. Thank you for following us. Syntax is punted to the back of the grid as we now run with Martin, who is only 5/10 behind Clive Melbourne. Both in forward cars have managed to make their way to the front of the grid. Alex Cochrane overtakes Sato Drifters, 7th position. It's pretty close between the in-forward guys. Are they going to play it smart, or are they going to try and battle it out with one another, which might just work for Clive?
There Sally makes a mistake again and falls down to P6.
We'll have to get a word with him after the race to see his issue was, because we don't like to see our racing drivers struggle this much, especially talented ones. As Martin closes the gap down to 3/10 now, into the final sector of this track. Both in-forward cars practically side by side entering the last corner.
Both of them getting a slipstream from Clive. Yap goes alongside Martin and goes past him. It's a clean move due to slipstream and higher speeds. Maybe even a team order, because so Yap can make an attempt to overtake Clive.
I highly doubt that. I mean, MVTL wouldn't want to see Yap finish ahead of him, be it that they're teammates. At the end of the day, I know where MVTL's priorities are and wants to be on the top step of the podium all the time. As he misses the corner completely. God, is it commentator's curse? He has to run through the sand trap and ends up in 7th position as Syntax overtakes him now. That is not a good result. Clive Melbourne though holding on to 1st position at the moment, with Yap closing the gap at 5/10 behind him.
Might add Oscar Williams up to 4 after being last in lap 1 in a collision. He's doing well for himself. I think the people that improved the most in this race are Yap and Sammy. I'm gonna have a look in a moment. Yes, it's Yap and Oscar who have gained the most places along with Sammy. They have had a good race right now. A good second race, good start, good first 5 minutes or so, 6 minutes of the first race.
Running with Yap now, who's getting some good slipstream off Melbourne. Looks to maybe go around the inside. Thinks better of it as we run into the second corner now.
After turn 3 through turn 4, looks like Clive made a big direction change to avoid slipstream, but Yap has gotten the slipstream anyway. That was a bit of a squeeze from Clive, but Yap got in front of Clive anyway. Yap made a slight mistake out of turn 7, which is gonna give Clive a bit of a run, but it's not much, and Clive has dropped 5/10 in the previous few corners.
Now really it will be up to Oscar to try and make as many positions in the next 13 minutes possible to try and keep the championship lead. Where was it that Yap finished in the last race, sorry?
I think it was 2nd.
But yeah, he needs You see the second or third in order to keep ahead.
At the moment, it looks like he's gonna get under attack from R2 soon. R2 is closing up to Oscar in the previous sectors. As Oscar at the same time, I'm sorry, R2 says the fastest laps of the race, so he's in full charge mode. Still runs wide at turn 1, and that's gonna cost him a few tenths. And again in turn 3, and yeah, that's gonna cost him a lot of time, sadly. Oscar has now closed up a bit more to Semi, and also Semi has closed up to Clive. This is gonna be a 3-wide fight for second place. Ziap has been making the gap even bigger and bigger. It's 1.5 seconds in a lap, so he's got quite good pace on right now. Let's see if he can keep that up at the end of the race when the tires are running low. Because you can't push this car for the whole 20 laps without struggling with tire wear the last laps. It's impossible.
Alex Cochrane has a bit of an issue there. Has to give the position to a set of drifters who... Oh my god, what is going on? MVTL has an issue.
I think Alex, his throttle might be jammed, it looks like.
You're right there.
That's a big issue for Alex. I think he's also beached.
That'll probably be the end of his race, is run back with Yap, who looks to be extending this gap even further now. Is the one thing you don't want to give Yap is clean air.
This is gonna get really interesting towards the end of the race. As both Sammy and Oscar are closing up to Clive. They're bunched up now, and I think there's gonna be an overtake move in the upcoming lap. Either from Oscar or from Sammy. Alex having even more issues with his car, and I'm afraid that he's not gonna be moving up the field anymore. As he's pulling into the pits. The damage.
Yeah. Looks like Salem might be making a move in the next lap as he goes around the outside.
Slide got
And there's contact, there's contact! They both spin out and gift the P2 to Williams, who will be happy with that, but my heart goes out to Melbourne, who was looking like he was going to have a career best finish right there. Oh god.
That's gonna be an incident for the stewards, I believe.
I mean, Clive Melbourne went right, wide out the last corner. Down to P6 now. By the looks of things, you know, Sammy Salem went around the outside and was kind of, you could argue, maybe forced off track. Maybe that's the line he took. I'm not too sure. But yeah, you're right. It'll be an incident report that we need to look into post-race. MVTL place. He's going to be wondering, how did it get so bad?
he sets the fastest lap of the race.
Is it too little?
There
too
might
late?
be a bug in my application because it said the fastest lap of the race, but it doesn't. It isn't. As Alex reports an issue with his wheel, so that's probably was a issue with the throttle.
DNFs. R2 up to third, given his poor performance in the last race. Not doing too bad, capitalising on other people's mistakes this race. Head into the last 7 minutes of the race.
The other Toto Rosso car of Sami Selen, who's closing up to him quickly though, and he.
I mean, will R2 gift the position to Salem?
Salem runs a bit wide in the last corner.
Gap's fairly wide at the moment.
And the chat's reporting an issue with the graphics.
It was just me playing around with the graphics more than anything. There's quite a few settings I can do, just showing a kind of closer gap into the thing.
Sami Selen gets quite a bad exit out of turn 7 and loses a bit of time to R2. Meanwhile, Martin has overtaken Assetto drifter for P7.
Gaps now 3 seconds up, second place. And with the current positions, Oscar will retain his lead, his 3-point lead into the next race, keeping that championship battle alive. It'll be MVTL taking the biggest hit at the moment.
Oscar goes really wide. Assetto drifter goes really wide in turn 12, almost hitting the wall even. That's surely not gonna help him in the fight with MVTL. The drivers are settling in and the gaps are forming. Clive is slowly catching Syntax, but I'm afraid there's not enough time unless Syntax makes a slight mistake.
My heart rate goes out for Clive. I mean, we try and remain as impartial as possible. As R2 has a big incident and gifts third position to Sami Salem, I don't know what's going on with R2's car as he decides to call it a day there and then. Syntax will move up to a 4th position. Salem has a bit of a moment in the carousel section, has to lift off due to oversteering moments. MVTL will be happy about that. That will help soften the blow regarding the championship battle. But yeah, as I was saying, Clive running in 2nd position. I mean, whether or not he was able to hold on to it is another matter, but we always want the underdogs to perform. Oscar slowly closing the gap as we enter in 2 minutes remaining of this race. I doubt it's enough to make an impact.
Clive has made a mistake somewhere on track and now is fallen 5 seconds behind Syntax. So I'm afraid he's not gonna get a fight for 4th place in the last lap.
It'll be interesting to see what the drivers have to say about race event.
If anyone wants to say anything, that is.
As Vermin Art mentions that he feels for Clive, he was doing well. He was. I mean, it was inevitable that Yap was going to get past him, but we had a nice battle forming between Salem and Melbourne. Unfortunately, that battle was cut short, and second position was gifted to Oscar Williams, who is currently 2.3 seconds behind Yap as we embark upon the final lap of race 2. This looks to be the finishing order though, but stranger things have happened. Incidents could still occur as Oscar breaks at the 100-meter board, clips the apex nicely. Oscar just chipping away at the gap. It's just a shame that the race is about to finish on this lap, because a couple of more laps we might be able to see a nice little battle appear.
Yap makes a slight mistake out of turn 5.
Big lock up there.
Time. But I'm afraid that's not going to be enough of a mistake to... He makes another mistake out of turn 6. That's really pulled the gap together. I think his tires are running out quite a lot. Let's see what happens in the last few corners of this race.
Teasing Oscar. So are we going to start doing some kind of fantasy GP league for Trout League? You predict the results and get points and select your team.
That'd be cool.
Oscar manages to get the gap roughly down to 1 second, but it's not enough, unfortunately. Or is it? Who knows?
Yap comes around the last corner of the race and he's gonna secure 1st place. There's not gonna be a big change in the top 2 of the driver standings, but they are both extending the gap to the cars behind. Great race for Yap, great race for Oscar. Both doing 1-2 in both races, just vice versa.
Oscar crosses the line.
Clive is beached at turn 10, 11, and
God.
That's gonna demote him to P7.
Clive, I didn't want this feeling.
It's sad, but that finish is still gonna count. Just 1 lap behind and in P7.
Yeah. So Drifters decides to stay there.
So that's gonna be it for today's race in Road America.
I mean, looking at the lap times, we didn't really get close to the best lap times, to be honest. Yap was capable of a 1:53.5, but you know, good race, very eventful. Low attendance, but these guys still managed to keep it very exciting and entertaining. Nevertheless, I'd like to point out that after me applying the penalty to Oscar for the last race, that Vermin Racing Team and Scuderia Toto Rosso were neck and neck at 194 points each. Obviously, that is about to change. We will update the standings. However, will be the next race that really decides what way this championship will go, as we head to Donington Park, UK, which will be our penultimate race in the second series, featuring Dallara F317. So, any thoughts on the race?
Yeah, I was happy to see close racing at the front, at the very top of the race, but sadly the low attendance made it so it was there was not much racing in the midfield.
Yeah, it was the incidents that really kind of decided the outcome of the race. Oscar Williams, lightning fast reflexes to avoid the incident. Clive Melbourne and Sammy Salem. Obviously,
Yeah.
Incident reports to deal with that. You about to say, sorry?
We have the first interview with Syntax. Please drag him into the channel.
Okay. Where are you, Syntax? Oh, waiting for interview. Hello there, Syntax.
Heyo.
Thoughts on the race?
Yeah, I think I'm quite lucky that I got 4th position in the second race. Consistency was okay in the second race. In the first one it was quite bad, but it was nowhere near my enemies anyway. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the results. Even though I got bullied in race 2.
Yeah, the start of race 2, it was a bit all over the place for the back of the pack. You want to just run us through it?
Yeah, well, I think T1 was okay, but in T2, everything was red on my car radar, and I felt a hit on my rear, and somehow I managed to keep it straight, and well, lost some positions and had damage. And at the end of lap 1, it was pretty close, with 3 guys, and well, I backed off because I didn't want to risk another hit. And I think it was Alex in both occasions, but yeah, nothing serious.
Sorry to cut across, but still fairly close battles. I mean, you still finished ahead of Martin in the first race, so that's something to be happy about.
Yeah, I think he had, like he said, he was hot lapping too much and lost a bit of focus. And in the second race, I think he was surprised I had to brake a bit earlier than usual. But I wasn't sure with my damage whether I could take the corner like in my usual race pace. So I think he didn't want to hit me and just went straight. So yeah, there was no fight after that. And in race 1,
finishing 4th in both races, that's definitely going to help Mercedes Motorsport gap ahead of the likes of Octam Junior Power Team. So well done for that.
Thanks, but I think in race 1 was 7th position, I guess.
Was it 7th?
Yeah, I was behind R2. No, I overtook R2, but I was behind Alex.
My bad, sorry. You finished 6th, yeah.
Yeah.
I misread it. But
anyway, good results, I think.
Yeah. Those points will matter at the end of the season as we close and bring Oscar, the race winner from race 1 and runner-up in 2. Thank you, Syntax.
Thank you.
Oscar, nice of you to join us. congratulations on your finish in race 1. You're very entertaining in race 2. It's a shame you couldn't really keep going for an extra couple of laps, because there would have been a battle between you and Yap, that's for sure. Oscar, we can't hear you at the moment.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry. Yeah, 1 or 2 more laps of this in the second race, and I would have had a chance to overtake.
Definitely. That gap was just.
I was unlucky with the start of the second race, so hey ho.
Yeah, you're right. You started obviously at the back, being that you've finished first in race 1. Can you just run us through the first lap?
Oh, I can't remember it. But all I know is I had to go to the grass on, I think it was turn 2, after 3 cars kind of ran in my way. So after that, I was behind 3 guys. I can't remember who it was actually.
There was a collision, like sort of.
So there's on the
2017
corner where I tried to overtake, and I thought I could just cut across, but clipped my wing. So I had a yellow wing. I don't know whether I was kind of impatient at that point. I thought I needed to get past now because I needed to keep with Jap really.
Well, I think you did everything that you possibly could do. I mean, your lightning reflexes to avoid Sammy Salem and Clive Melbourne on the penultimate corners.
I knew that was going to happen. I felt that.
I ran with I ran with it from your point of view because I just knew something was about to happen in that corner. Yeah. So congratulations on avoiding that, and congratulations on your results overall. You finishing first and second means that you will keep your 3-point lead over Yap, I believe. Being that fastest lap, it will remain at that.
Are you sure I didn't get it at the end of race 2?
Race 2, yeah, you did get the fastest lap, but unfortunately you don't get any points for that.
I got it. No, it's going to be awesome. There's 2 more races, right? Donington and Okayama. So.
Yeah, you're best as you can at Donington, being as it's sort of your home race, I guess.
Well, I guess.
Wales.
Better than this track, anyway.
But, great result nonetheless, and yeah, thank you for joining us.
Well, I thought R2 was very unlucky. I thought he should have won at least one of the races. He had great pace, but consistency wasn't there. Anyway.
He reported having issues with setups, so yeah, that's a bit hard. Also, watch. Clive in the second race, he was having such a good start, but then the incident with Sammy, and unfortunately he spun and got beached in the last lap, so he lost 2 more positions.
It's a shame because he was doing sick in the second race.
Yeah. One to look out for. But yeah, I think we're going to call it a day there.
Yeah, I'll leave you to it, lads.
Thank you very much for joining us, Oscar.
Commentary.
Nice one, mate. So any final words, Carlos?
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching this race live, and I think this is going to be a really interesting championship battle towards the end of the season. As there's 2 quite popular tracks coming up now, and there are the drivers already probably know them, and this is going to be just test of endurance and not pace. In general, is probably the top 4, the same 4 guys are going to be neck and neck on pace, just like the last few races.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got Donington Park coming up, and then we've got the final track that is yet to be decided. Could be Spa.
There are a couple of choices between, I guess, Spa, Laguna Seca, and Yokoyama.
I'm hoping it's Yokoyama. I feel like it didn't get the praise it deserves.
Well, in my opinion, it was Like the track is meant for cars like the F3 car, and I think it's gonna be a spectacular race in the F3 cars.
Yeah.
The track is good with this speed of cars, the slower cars like these F3 cars and 323, even slower classes. They're really good. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the end of the season. As Clive now wants an interview.
Okay, yeah, let's get Clive in here before we
No,
call.
he disconnected.
But yeah, alright, we're gonna call it a day there, I reckon. Been very eventful, and I feel like I need to relax and just soak in what's just happened tonight. But yeah, thank you for everyone joining us tonight. Thank you for my co-commentator Carlos. I couldn't have done this without him.
No problem. Looking forward to commenting next race as well.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Shame that Maxi couldn't join us tonight to commentate alongside you.
Be really interesting as he is the reigning champion currently.
Yeah, he is the reigning champion currently in Hybrid Series.
No, he's in F3 in Hybrid Series now.
Who?
Maxi, he's the reigning champion in F3.
That is true, yeah, sorry, my bad. I mean, this is going back a few seasons now, but yeah, on that note, good night, guys, and we'll see you. When's the next race?
I believe in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks' time. Where we'll be racing at Donington on the 9th of September. So make a note in your diary for that. And if I quickly just look at the hybrid series, we'll be racing at
next week in Spa.
Yeah. So remember to join us then, guys. 8 PM, the normal time. I don't think the clocks are going back anytime soon. So 8 PM BST. We'll see you there next Saturday. Good night.